Hey Jill fans!
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ronnie from the Jill Writers Archive. Happy 10th anniversary!
How are we still here 10 years later?
Well, you know, the thing is that we had so much to do!
I mean, we had scripts, we had cells, we had toys and vlogs and archive showcases.
So many amazing memories! I mean, it's so crazy that for 10 years now, we've been able to talk about 26 episodes. When all together, it's like 13 hours of content, of original content. And that 13 hours of animated...
one graphic novel.
And a graphic novel, yes. But still, it's like, out of that, you've been able to churn out blogs and vlogs and podcasts.
Instagrams and Facebook.
Instagram and Twitter, now X, and Tumblr, and We Hearted.
My
Daily
God.
Motion, and... I mean, all these platforms that we've been on since 2015.
Yeah. And then to recap, we started this for the 20th anniversary of the show. Because
and
we
now...
build up to the 25th, like, oh, we're going to make it to the 25th, and here we are.
The 30th anniversary!
30th, and that just blows my mind. I got some new gray hairs just thinking about it.
Well, you know, you grew your hair and I grew my hair.
I know, just different hairs.
Exactly. I mean, I think the thing for me is that all along, you've been here. Whether you've been here since the start in 2015 when we were preparing for the launch, or if you are just joining us and here we are in 2025, and we have been so blessed all along the way to meet so many amazing fans.
It's, you know, we've had some live archive showcases where we got to meet some people. You know, I finally got to meet Stormy, who I, loved as a child.
Idolized her.
And, you know, even way beyond that, beyond our childhood wildest dreams, you know, you got to meet Carrie Butler.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked with Corinne Orr. We've talked with
people
who've made the show, especially
Greg Attore.
My heart, that man has been so good and sweet to us over the last 10 years, just sharing so much behind-the-scenes information and memories and, you know, just things that we would have never been able to tease out of these behind-the-scenes images without his knowledge.
Right. That's, I think, one of the things that when I look back at the Drawers Archive, my favorite memories have been not only the interactions. I was talking about when we were at toy fairs and when we get to meet people in person and they tell us, oh, I follow you on the Drawers Archive, or doing a little archive showcase pop-ups, or doing the toy reviews, or, you know, going live at PowerCon, and, you know, all those memories.
The time my hand sold zines at the zine
Yes.
fest. The girl ran up to me, said, oh my gosh, Princess Gwenevere bought a zine and then ran away.
And then you never heard from her ever again.
What happened to you?
Are you listening?
One?
Are you watching this? But you know, I think the biggest thing was that, as you were mentioning, because of the fact that we started out in 2015 in anticipation, well, we were celebrating the 20th, but our big build-up was to the 25th anniversary. Right. And I think after that it was like, okay, what is going to happen next? And I think that we just kind of built up to that finale. And we were ready with our own zine. We were ready with merchandise. We were ready with tons of new Redbubble merchandise and blogs and videos. That it was...
The pins.
Yes. And that it was... Afterwards, it was like, okay, what's going to happen now? And then out of the blue comes the graphic novel.
Right. I mean, a totally unexpected little treat. At the sort of near the end when we were like, okay guys, we're winding down. Like, we're kind of putting it to bed and sunsetting it a little bit. And here's like, no, wait. We have a thing for you.
Something new.
And I'm like, that is not really something I ever thought would happen during the course of running this website, is getting a new piece of Jewel Writer's content material.
But speaking of new content...
I'm sorry, I hate the word content. I mean creative material.
We're changing the word. But speaking of items, content, whatever you want to say, that we share, I mean, even like a year ago, we just saw a brand new image pop up on eBay.
Oh my gosh.
Like, things are still appearing. And even before that, like, there was the giant coloring book that we had no idea about.
Yeah, and some of these things we had a while ago, we featured the socks that I had
We're
never
still not
seen
sure
before.
if they were ever produced or if those are just prototypes or what they are. Yeah.
But, again, it's like, here's this thing that none of us ever saw in the wild as kids. And there it is on Evil Bay, waiting for you.
Do you remember what the sales sheet was for? It looked like it was part of the beauty kit or whatever it was.
Yeah, there were two of them, I know. There was the like makeup and beauty supplies, and the other one was the like a plate like tea set, like a food service.
A tea set?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Oh,
yeah.
Recently,
just like those little Bell tea sets from back in the day. Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, we were just talking about 3D printing also, and how you had purchased something for a coworker. It's like, things have come such a far way, and I know that when we asked fans, like, what would they buy, and they definitely said, oh yeah, a 3D printed Jewel Writer's doll we would buy. It's just, things like that, it's like, should we invest in things like that? Do I need a Gwenevere tea set?
Do you need a 3D printed Gwenevere tea set?
I don't know. Do I?
Will you just pour the nothing into your cup from the teapot?
Exactly.
Have a tiny little cup. That would be adorable. If somebody wants to make a metallic pink Gwenevere tea set, I will purchase that from you.
Everyone's just looking to you. They're like, you guys need to make it.
I know.
We'll buy it from you.
Some of the fun for me is always seeing what other people are doing, though.
And what other people are able to create as well.
Yeah. I mean, I have long been a fan who loves fan work.
Mm-hmm.
Fan art, fan fiction. And, more recently, like, fan-created, little merchandise, like pins or...
And fan pod fix.
Yes, we did do the pod fic of one of my fics.
Yes, yeah.
Which was so fun to record and then add all the sound effects in, making, like, a little audio play.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had the Circle of Friends. We made the moving comic up.
Yes,
and you took
the pages that Achon and I did for that comic, and... that sadly never got much more content.
But I mean, we were able, like everything else,
content.
We were able to also kind of stretch it out and get a couple of additional episodes out of those few strips.
Yeah, and you had your friend record the vocals for it, which is very fun. Like, not something I ever thought I would see happen, but...
And then we also saw the return of the cartoon, because I know that around, when was it? Was it 2023? Something like that? When... Bovett had originally reached out, and then Amazing Adventures, they put the cartoon on their on their YouTube channel, and then they started sharing the videos.
Well, they also put it on the Peacock streaming service.
Yes, which my audio was featured on.
Yes.
And then after that, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think of everything that's happened, because it just feels like we were the source, as you know, for the Jewel Writers content for the longest time, that, we kind of like built a library enough to house all of the creative that we were hosting, and then from there it kind of felt like it took off and just sailed off with the copyright owner, and then it was like, I guess it's come full circle, because now they like...
Full circle.
There you go.
Is it Revenge of the Ronnie Stone?
But I mean, it's, it's the fact that now the copyright owner has taken kind of possession back of the cartoon.
And in many ways, like...
we've done our job.
We've done exactly what we were supposed to do. Yeah.
Right. We set out to archive everything.
Mm-hmm. And to bring attention and awareness back to this property.
Right.
We partnered with the Avalon Web of Magic blog, and we've done some reviews of the books and shared some of those, since they're a sister property to Jewel Writers.
I mean, we've done so much. I mean, the podcast is just filled with awesome content.
Yeah, many hours of cool interviews and chats and
book reviews. And, I mean, the thing that we just never really did was the episode reviews. I don't know if you really, really wanted episode reviews, but we just never really got around
to it. I know. People have asked for that for some time, and who knows, maybe someday we'll go.
Can't promise anything. I can't promise anything. But that's a nice little segue, because I know that when we had talked about what our goals were for the website, it did start because we wanted a way to archive and to exhibit what we had in our own personal collections, because we were such fans of the show.
Yeah, it's like making a digital museum, basically.
And people have said that the website is such a cool idea, because you hardly ever see dedicated websites like that any longer. Yeah. I mean, past, the 90s.
It was kind of funny. We were at a friend's wedding not that long ago, and we were chatting with a young filmmaker who was in his 20s. And you showed him the website, and he thought it was very retro. and in many ways, that's what we wanted. We wanted to emulate those fan sites that we loved as children. That were on, GeoCities and Angel Fire and all these crazy, web hosts that no longer exist.
Right. So, not only was it a digital library and an art exhibit, but it was interactive in the sense that we also wanted to host, podcast recordings, blogs, things like that. So
yeah, we hosted all of the fic from Stormy's Avalon website, which is all hosted on the Jewel Writers Archive.
And the fan art.
And the fan art from that site as well, because I really had a strong desire to preserve those pieces.
And we've done lots of interviews, and Stormy even wrote a blog talking about her time as the mistress of the magic on the Jewel Writers website.
Yeah,
her Avalon page.
If you're interested in fandom history, there's some really cool stuff there too.
And then Lisa from the Princess blog, she's also written a ton of articles, and we've hosted all of them over the years.
And on her own blog, of course, she has reviews of both Jewel Riders and the comic, and many other princess-related properties, and they're really fun to read, too.
Right. And, as I was saying about how we initially launched the website, and that it was going to be a place that we could share all of our, our collection, we really had, at the time, some scripts, some storyboards, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I think we had maybe the first Jewel Quest storyboard in the very beginning, and the Wizard's Peak one.
And then the
Style Guide,
that's the one.
And the Show Bible.
Yeah. And that was really it.
Yeah, I mean, that was
it was more written content. Right. I think that's why a website, more than like, we're going to create a Flickr page or something like that, or an Etsy.
I mean, we did have the Toy Fair catalogs from 95 and 96 that had the unproduced prototypes in them as well, which was one of those amazing things, like, long ago in faraway times. Like, I posted
1995.
I posted scans of those on my personal Flickr account, and those got so much love.
They were early viral.
Yeah, and because it was really cool, because people who never even knew that there was a possibility of more. I mean, I remember getting the Toy Fair catalog in the mail and just practically shaking as I'm opening
you're thumbing through the pages.
Like, where is she?
And there it is. So in addition to having all of the items prepared for the 20th anniversary, which was the launch of the Jewel Writers Archive, then we said, okay, in the very near future, and I think it was within 2 years, we were going to begin to present the animated show. And so that's when I went back and I used all of the different source materials to create the cartoons no one had ever seen them before.
Yeah, you reconstructed them. Some, partially from our childhood VHS
Many
tapes.
Of them from, because I used all of the audio from them. Yeah, so every single audio is from a VHS tape.
Yeah, and it's like, that's crazy. That is
and then, of course,
the best quality of the Gwenevere version audio that exists.
Because, of course, then the studio came to us and said, we need the audio, and so that's what we were able to provide them. That was years down the road.
Yeah, and so we love you, Starla fans, but
we wanted to present the Gwenevere audio
childhood version,
right? Which is what we had experienced when we were kids. And then shortly after that, when there was the first and the second season, is when I started to really focus more on the social media part of it. Because I was like, okay, I've shared content via YouTube for the episodes, what's next? And that's when we also began the archive showcase, when we reviewed all the toys and when we shared all of those reviews. And you continued your blog, you've been writing your blog.
We started the podcast.
The podcast as well. So, there was kind of like a lot of different moving parts to all of this. And I think that at that point is when we started to get really burned out.
Yes.
And I know that you wanted to focus on the things that you wanted to focus on, and I wanted to focus on my own stuff. And of course, I was involved creatively, for work, living.
Yes.
And it just took a big toll because we were not able to devote the type of hours that were needed.
Sometimes you realize belatedly that the reason why so many teenagers made fan sites
because they had the time,
because they had a summer off,
not working adults
to do it,
right?
And when you're somebody who likes to create things and tell stories of your own, sometimes it's like, okay, I have this limited amount of creative time, and do I spend it here, do I spend it there? And sometimes you have to make harder choices.
And we did.
As much as we love the archive and we're so proud of the work that we've done with it, and that the fans have helped contribute, at the end of the day, a 10-year project is quite the time commitment.
I mean, even before that, we said we were going to begin to cut back on the amount of dedicated time.
Yeah, I would say by year, 7 or 8, we started talking about that.
Well, I mean, it was also the pandemic. So because of the fact that I was able to finally focus on everything, again, it took a worldwide shutdown for me to actually be able to sit down, to give me enough time to actually catch up on all my Jewel Writer's homework.
Yeah. My real life job is in the medical field, so I got not one day off.
Not a single day.
Yeah.
But here was poor little Ronnie. Aww. My poor little fingers.
Tippy-tapping away like a little corgi. Tapping away at his keyboard.
So, I think that there was something beneficial about the time during COVID because I was able to actually focus on it.
I think that was really similar with a lot of people who suddenly found they had some time to devote to some creative endeavors that they'd not had time in their normal lives to work on just because of the hectic busyness of life.
And it was nice because I was able to finally do a lot of checklist stuff. So, okay, did.
Right.
But then after that, it was like, okay, now we need to reel back again. But then I think that just when we were like, okay, you know what, let's see what happens, then it's like, oh, here's the comic! Let's do the comic! And then it was like, okay, plus we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of the site, the 30th anniversary of the show.
Yeah, we had the 5th anniversary of the podcast.
So it was kind of like a lot of stuff that was still like, okay.
Oh, and we had the
The
Houston Toy Museum, literal museum.
Right, hosting the toys.
Hosting our toys.
Back in 2024. So, it was kind of like, okay, I guess let's work on this. Let's go ahead and, share this with the fans. And then, here we are again at the 10th anniversary, and I think that this is, I know, we say every time it's like little by little, it's like, okay, we gotta, reel it back, we're gonna reel it back.
Yeah.
And I think that I just have to say, it's like, I am so proud of all the work that we've done
absolutely.
In these 10 years. As we've mentioned, all the interviews, all of the content, even though you don't like the word, all of the creative videos, all of the, video reviews, the merchandise that we created, the artwork that we shared, the Instagram profiles, thousands and thousands of posts.
I know. That Instagram is so many posts.
Thousands of Jewel fans all around the world looking at you. And now, 10 magical years, and it is, as I said, full circle. It's come full circle. Yeah. We've created the circle of friends. Everyone has been able to connect. And even the social media, when we said that we were going to no longer be updating the social media, I know that there were times sporadically, especially because of the comic.
You still slide back in there every
because
so
I feel like there's content that still needs to be shared, even though I have it as a saved post, and it's like, we've moved. Like, follow us, on only YouTube and only on the site. So as of, was it 2023 or 2024? It was 2023, wasn't it? Yeah. So as of 2023, the Instagram, the X, the Facebook were no longer being updated regularly, at least, where previously it had been like definitely weekly posts, if not every other day.
Right.
So for the past 2.5 years, it's just been, sporadically where it needs to be. And then the YouTube videos have continued to be updated. The podcast episodes every once in a while, the blog every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, but those have all come as we've had things that have been relevant to share, especially with podcast and blog updates.
And we've shared all the relevant content now and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And now the 10th anniversary, and it's kind of one of those things where you could continue to talk about little things.
Right.
You could do it for decades. It doesn't end.
Look at the Disney people.
Right. I mean, you always have something to talk about. And in a way, when you love a product like Princess Gwenevere and the Jewel Riders, aka Starla and the Jewel Riders,
aka Starla et la joie magique.
Exactly. You can always find something to talk about. But I think the thing is that at the end of the day, it would be...
Is it a meaningful thing?
Right. I mean, is it also the best use of our talents, too?
We're not necessarily still scouring the internet with a fine-tooth comb for things we're missing or information.
It's like everything's presented.
We've built the place where people can just go.
Right.
Here you go.
It's the Jewel Riders theme park.
Exactly. Lady Kale Salad Bar. Now serving
kale.
Yes.
Right. With Twig and Rufus breadsticks.
That sounds delightful, actually.
Right. But the point is that as we are now celebrating the 10th anniversary, it's our time to say thank you. Well, that's I was going to say thank you for being a friend. But that's the Golden Girls quote. But
we have one of those videos,
right?
Too.
Exactly. See, so many creative works that we've generated. But, at the end of the day, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. Thank you for being
love you
our friend. We do love you. And, you've stepped into the friendship ring with us and have experienced the magic of Jewel Riders for the past 10 years. And now the Jewel Riders archive is here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere as long as the website's functional and
doesn't break down.
I intend to...
I mean, that'll be all to WordPress.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right?
And so as long as, I'm able, I'm going to keep paying the hosting fees for the podcast and the site. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, we love it if you can help us out with a Redbubble purchase here and there or something from our Etsy shop. Obviously, that goes a long way to help with keeping the site up and alive.
And there is all that new merchandise also for the 30th anniversary as well.
Some really cool stuff, so check it out.
Definitely. But the point is that, to be very clear...
Yeah.
This is the end of the Wild Magic Tunnel.
We're being spit out into the Wild Magic Garden Party.
Oh, we get to join the cousins?
Yes.
The weird cousins. Does that mean that someone has to go looking for you in the Wild Magic? Where's Chris Canther?
He's been lost for a while.
Bubble. He's just swirling around, right? Yeah. Yes, and Ronnie's over there in the Vale of the Unicorns riding a unicorn.
I thought you were going to be on the magic disco floor in the Vale.
Oh, no, actually, I'm swimming under the water as a mermaid.
Oh, okay.
That's where I am. But, again, it's just the fact that I don't want you to feel like we're abandoning you in any way.
No.
I don't want you to feel like, gosh, I just found this. Like, this is sad. No. You've got 10 years of content to review. Right. So even if you're joining us for the very first time today, I mean, you're going to be awake for countless years.
Enjoy staying up late and scrolling.
Right. I mean, just reading, scrolling, watching. You've got hours and hours and days and months of content.
Years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful things we've been able to share that we shared it all, pretty much.
We did it all.
And we all did it.
And I grew hair, and you grew hair, and now I'm actually wearing your shirt. And I mean, I thought this was supposed to be 1995, not 1935 over here.
Well, I'm old enough feeling to be in the home.
See, there you go.
The Wild Magic retirement home.
We went from being young whippersnappers to now sitting here listening to our fireside chat.
What's Lux Magic Soap presents Princess Gwenevere
and the Jewel Riders, played by Katharine Hepburn.
Delightful. I'm Princess Gwenevere.
Oh, you sound like it, definitely. And see, if you're just too young that you didn't understand that, well, that's why we have to retire when we are.
Yes. So we really, really want to thank you all for being part of our circle of friends. And that has made this experience the worthwhile experience that it is for us. It's not just sharing a cartoon.
Right.
It's sharing a piece of memory and childhood that brought us joy.
And us together.
Exactly. Right. And sharing that with people who have similar stories and who also felt that same spark of joy and creativity from Jewel Riders and all the people who poured their love into making the show what it was.
It's funny. We were just talking about the backdrop. And it's like, when we started recording the Archive Showcase, we had a purple tablecloth from the dollar store. And we hung it. We were in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Because we were doing it remotely. And
if you look, you can see the creases from the fold.
But I'm just saying, it's the fact that that's where we started. And then we end in two nice chairs and a nice setup with a owl and a book and a radio.
I mean, our living situations have changed multiple times over the course of the archive. Jobs have changed.
I mean, I don't even live in the state that I started in.
No.
I just moved.
I know, we're all over the place now. Wherever you go, you could find a Jewel fan.
And you're married.
Yes.
As well. I mean...
Oops, I forgot my ring.
But it's just... I think that it's a nice telling because just like how Jewel Riders brought us together as kids and kept us in constant connection as we grew, you went to college, I moved, we were doing different stuff for work. This is something that brought us together, and it was something that made us a child again when we watched those things. And now that we have grown and that we are older, we're 10 years older than what we were when we started. I mean, you look at some of those early videos, I'm so thin. Like, I have an
undercut in some of those early...
You have no facial hair, and...
I was, believe it or not, I was not even out.
And you were not even out.
In the first
You
year.
were still straight.
Oh my gosh.
He was never straight. But
the closet was glass. It was Jewel, let's say that.
Yes. It was the clearest Jewel you ever saw. Oh, but still, what I mean, there you go. It's like, the show has continued to be, I don't want to say it's the epicenter of everything, but I mean, it's definitely been there. I keep going back to Golden Girls. It's like, it's like the show that kind of has gotten you through everything. Life, COVID, dating and moving. And I think that the archive has always been that consistent piece of it.
Yeah.
Where you've been that consistent piece of it. And it's helped us to kind of make, what is the opposite of chaos? It's like, it's
order?
To make order out of chaos.
What is it? Ma'at in Egyptian?
That's my thoughts.
Yeah. And it's, it's really taught us the value of long-term creative work and friendship together. Mm-hmm. Being like two really powerful forces in both of our lives. So,
right.
And we hope in yours too.
I know it has been. I mean, think about it. How many people share consistently over and over again that they love the show and that it's such an important part of their childhood and they remember it and they can't wait to share it with their loved ones now. You got people sharing it with their boyfriends, with their husbands.
With their kids.
Exactly.
People with children.
Their kids.
I thought we were children.
No, you're no longer 9 years old. I know.
Wipe away the tears.
But with that said, let's jump back to 1995 and let's just pretend like we are in the living room watching it on TV and just all the
Sunday
memories.
Morning, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Nobody's up in your house except you watching.
And then suddenly you hear, jump in the ring when destiny calls. Together is great. We'll do it all. And the Jewel Riders.
Exactly.
Well, I guess it's time to sign off.
Yes. So, as we like to end every episode, we're going to say, friends together, friends forever.
But I'm going to have you say it with us. So we're going to do it one more time.
Interactive piece.
Yes, this
now.
is.
Okay.
So as we always say it. Okay, I know that was like, oh, am I saying it? No, you're going to say it with me, okay? So
you could have told me I was doing a solo performance beforehand.
Okay, let's say it again.
All right. Friends together.
Friends forever.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, until we meet again at the next intersection of the wild magic. Bye, everyone.
We love you.
Love you.
By the magic of the Sunstone, you're tuned into the Jewel Riders Archive. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the big